This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. I really believe that if you want to move your life forward in all different areas, you need a therapist and you need a coach. Both are going to hear your goals, work you through it, move you forward. Now, imagine if you had a coach who had insight on you already. They sort of have figured you out and your direction, and just they're already on the pathway to helping you more than any other coaches. That would be a coach that uses the power of astrology to pilot you forward. I have found her. She is our professional of the year. Some of the things she said totally resonates with me. She's done my birth chart, just even quick stuff. And I was like, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. Now imagine taking that and coaching somebody forward. So many realizations, epiphanies, validation every time we get together with her. She's back. Nancy Volante is on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Steve. Thank you, as always, for having me. I always look forward to Thursdays at 11:30. So happy to be here.
Same. And it's almost as if I feel things, because I think I'm sensitive to the air, the transits. I know nothing. I don't say I don't know anything about astrology, but I don't run deep. It's just I know what I feel when there's, and then I throw it to you and it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense because of this planet's connection to that one and the house, and that's where I get lost, and that's why I throw it back to you. So today we're going to talk about a certain, call it transit, that's happening and how that can impact us, right?
Yeah, I thought we'd start out with that. And I love how you said that, throwing back and forth what you're feeling. Because, that is astrology to me, is human connection. So how can we start that conversation using a tool like astrology, coaching, that, encompasses, our universal types, different types, right? So I love that. It's a great way to start a conversation. So this week, to start a conversation, and two planets that are having a conversation this week are Jupiter and Venus in Cancer. And so that was exact on April 12th. And that aspect is called a conjunction. So when there's a conjunction between two planets and an archetype, it is blending energy. So they're sitting right on top of each other and it's blending their energy. And that could be harmonious. That could be not so great. It all depends on how they're speaking to each other and the energy of the two planets and the archetype. So that all counts, just like three human beings having a conversation. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, but you try to stay with it in order to get to the other side. So in this particular conversation, it is beneficial. It's harmonious. And of course, it depends on where it is in your chart to cultivate the themes of it. But the collective themes is Jupiter in Cancer. For the first, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, the planet of luck, the planet of knowledge and wisdom. So it wants to teach us at a higher level. It also wants to teach us about what is justice between the human condition and the conversations that could come about that could either knock that off or bring that more into a compatible situation. And with Cancer, Jupiter is saying, let's bring that conversation home, inside of ourselves, to our home, our physical home, our roots, our family, our intuition. Jupiter's asking in its expansion, where do you feel safe? How does this all correlate? And how it connects and conjuncts with Venus in Cancer very beautifully is like through love, through beauty, through how do we bring ourselves in relationship with this idea of intuition expanding into a conversation that holds beauty.
Would you say at this time that our intuition could be heightened?
Definitely. So the next few days, because, and excuse me, the next few days, the conjunctions are only it's going to last for a few days, a couple days on before it started, a couple days after, 7, maybe something like that. Yes, it can heighten if you are attuned to it and if you're paying attention. It's all about, am I paying attention? Yeah, your intuition is very heightened and expanded.
I experienced it last night. Very bizarre. I was texting with somebody who was at like a town concert, and just very briefly. And I know that they know a certain individual. There's no reason for this person to be there, this individual. And I just said, tell so and so, how's so and so doing? I don't know why I said it. It popped in my head, and they said, "Oh yeah, I just saw them. We had a quick conversation." Blah, blah, blah. I was kind of joking, but not. Or I
Yeah.
was like, something's telling me just, let me just throw it out there. There's no reason for them to be there. They're like a completely, I mean, completely random, but they were.
Yeah.
And I even said to my friend, I think my intuition is heightened right now.
Yeah, and it is, and it could be small, it could be big. I mean, those are the things we pay attention to because it's like, oh, I can connect. I do have a presence,
Mm,
right? And we do want to believe in that intuition because it really what is what moves us forward in not only our self-care, but our dreams, our connections with others, and our connection with our soul.
mm. When it happens, or I feel my intuition is kind of tuned up a little bit, I'm it's almost as if I'm addicted. Like it's like more, please, more, give me more, let's go.
Yeah. I love that you said that because anything can be an addiction, right? Something that makes us feel good.
Mm,
So we want to ground that. We want to ground that. And we'll talk about that as we talk about the birth chart, taking this transit and this aspect of this conjunction into, how do we use in coaching, how do we use our chart as self-care, right?
hmm.
So, we could be addicted to something. I want to feel good, but if it's not grounded, it's going to get lost and it's going to become something that's just, and I'm not saying that you did that at all, but I'm just saying I'm glad that you brought that up because it's for all of us. That feels good. I want to do it again, but it's got to have weight to it. It's got to go through the body and ground it to really digest.
Okay, so I want to go on this. I want to look at this even closer.
Yeah.
So you're saying that we experience intuition, excuse me, or whatever it may be, it's not going to stick, or it's not going to be as impactful unless you're truly grounded. How do you get grounded? Of course, self-care. There's a lot of different methods. We can talk about that. Um, but is that really how it works?
And not only grounded, but conscious. And, I could say that's how it works, Steve, but, our intuition is something that lives, it's bigger than us, right? So it's that energy, that divine kind of energy. So I think it's personally, how do you connect with that? To
Mm,
make it feel grounded, to make it feel, you can ground in many different ways, right? Like you just said. I think I've mentioned this before as an Aquarian myself. For me, using the image of a tree with roots didn't always work for me. Because an Aquarian is not, for me personally, and maybe for others, I'm not grounded in that way because my element is air. You know, um, the modern ruler of my chart or of my sun sign is Uranus. Uranus doesn't want to really ground by earthiness, wants to ground by a lightning bolt or energy. So I had to figure out, it took me a while and I'm still working at it. How do I ground that energy of my own intuition so I can trust it and work with it in a physical manner? And for me, it was about energetically working with a lightning bolt. I know that sounds a little aggressive, but energy in a way that I could ground that into the earth. Not necessarily the roots of a tree, but that symbol and analogy of energy. So it's about energy, I think.
Oh, I'm learning a lot here today, Nancy. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I believed that we all ground the same way. Get into nature. My feet are on a grounding mat right now. Touch a
And that's
tree,
beautiful.
walk through the woods, whatever it may be. But one size apparently, one grounding size apparently doesn't fit all, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's true nature because as I said, the bolt for me is I am directing it into the earth
And now,
because
is that
that's
based
where I
on
live.
your astral as being an Aquarian? Is that based on that? That's how you know what might work the best for you to be grounded?
That is one reason. So as we go into the self-care map, I'll go to the sun sign first. So because my sun sign is Aquarius, so we're talking about grounding, we're talking about energy. So your sun sign, if you were to come to me and say, I really have a hard time grounding my energy. I'm always overwhelmed. I'm not sure about my boundaries or, how to focus. We'd look at the sun sign, not the only thing, but I might look at the sun sign and know, I want to know what your core energy is. And that's the sun sign. The sun sign is your core energy. It's how you maintain yourself, right? How you it's your soul's essence, it's your vitality. So if you're walking around not grounded, and believe me, I'm saying this to you from experience as an Aquarian, for me, I was always like, oh my God, how do I ground? What do I do? It was a big chore for me in my younger days of doing this kind of work.
Hmm.
I'd ground myself in the moment when I was teaching, but then I wouldn't feel I would feel exhausted after. So how do I maintain that vitality through my sun sign? How do I, maintain, if grounding is such a big word, let's use, how do I maintain my presence, my focus? That's all about grounding to me. That's my
Hmm.
perception. How do I do that?
Me being a Virgo, and I just want to get just for
Earth?
reference as we talk, are we referring to just the sign? So, different signs are maybe better than others in terms of what grounds them. What would it be for me?
Yeah. Yeah, and of course the whole chart comes into play, the aspects between your sun and that, but we're just doing it on a very small, a collective level. Yeah, for me, Aquarius, I'm air. So I'm more in my head. I'm more mental. So it's going to be a different process of me to become grounded or presence in my physical body than for you, Steve, who is a Virgo. You've already got that earth energy, you know, your earth, you're practical. You have that practicality. I have to find that practicality,
It can
you
be a good
know.
thing or a bad thing.
Absolutely. It's positive and negative.
For
So,
sure.
do you know what I mean? Like for you, for instance, you could get too caught in the minutia, right?
Yeah.
Too caught in the details where you won't be able then to expand and see outward.
Hmm.
Whereas for me, I can get ungrounded because I see the bigger picture. I see everything, I don't see everything, but that's the air, the Aquarians. And I need to have a little bit more focus and structure. So it's
Does it
playing.
directly correlate? Like you say, Virgo, basically, Virgo is an earth sign?
Yes.
Okay. Uh,
So it's mutable earth.
would
Yeah.
that mean that traditional grounding, getting into, the dirt, taking a walk, taking a hike, going in the woods, that would work, typically would work best for a Virgo to be grounded?
Yeah, and also for a Virgo to be grounded, you know, would be organization.
Sure.
To have your vitality, to have your energy, your core essence wants to be organized. right?
Yep.
Does want to have the details, but not to get stuck in it. So a Virgo would not feel grounded being scattered. So Virgo wants to bring that in. So a walk on the earth, putting your hands in the dirt, eating root vegetables, or eating an earthy, if we're bringing this into self-care. So on all levels and
Hmm.
spiritually feeling that you can pull from the divine spirituality because your opposite would be Pisces, right? But take that through the body. So the Virgo is about connection between the mind, body, and spirit, which will give you your vitality.
I never considered, like you just said, anyway, yeah, we're just using me as an example, pick any sign, that eating uh, more earthly foods, vegetables, whatever, would also be a part of grounding. I love lettuce. You throw me a
Yeah.
bag of shredded lettuce,
Yeah.
it's candy for me.
You know what? And that's really beautiful because this is why looking at the chart and using it as a map.
Yes.
And Steve, maybe eating a root vegetable will be so grounding that you'll be lethargic. Like for me, I can't eat a lot of lettuce because I get too airy. So I particularly have to eat root vegetables to help me. So it could be the opposite too.
Wow.
What I mean? So
See,
for
I don't try to read into any of this. I just take the information and then I just like look for evidence. So
yeah,
you said getting in the dirt. I love being in dirt. It
and that's
is,
beautiful.
and I didn't realize it until I sold a house a few years ago. I would do that every day. I would be in the backyard. I had the
Yeah,
dirtiest feet of any human on the planet.
that's
I never
great.
wore shoes. But I didn't realize how it was benefiting me. And now I look for, I'm in between houses, bad time to buy. Um, but any opportunity, somebody's working in their backyard, yeah, pick me. I'm there. I'll show up. I'll take care of it for you.
Yeah. And that's Virgo too. Virgo is about the harvest. Virgo is the earth, is the healer of the earth that loves to grow things. And that's why, you know, you want to allow the growth to happen, right? And
Hmm.
to come up. And that's beautiful. I mean, for anybody, it's good to put their feet on the earth because you're going to get, we're surrounded by air, right? We're surrounded by water, earth and fire. So we need all those elements to make us whole. But what do we need more? So we look at the chart and say, well, maybe you need a little bit more earth and a little less water. So it doesn't like the water doesn't like wash the earth away in a sense. Do you know what I mean?
And would you say if somebody's working with you, you can look at their chart and better direct them, help them better understand what might be best for them in terms of grounding, feeling connected, feeling better. We're always searching. What makes me feel good? Well, I didn't realize feet in the earth was good for me until I wasn't doing it. And I was like, oh, that's why you enjoyed it so much. So again, I just look for the evidence. But when you work with somebody on that capacity, you can direct them using their chart.
Yeah, and I would have, the first thing is really having a conversation and listening to what their needs might be, and then looking at the chart and having a conversation. And a lot of times what I do, Steve, is I'll have a conversation, I'll say, well, I'm looking at this and well, how does that feel to you, And then after I ask them the question, how does that feel? How does that resonate? So they speak what they feel back, which empowers them. So that is the connection of the direction or the guidance in whatever area. In this case, what we're talking about today is self-care through grounding our presence, our vitality. Now, we can also, if somebody's coming to me with emotional instability or not being stable, we'll look at the moon. The moon for self-care is our inner landscape. What are our habits? Did we learn those habits from childhood? How are they really directing us in a way that keeps us in this holding pattern of not feeling emotionally stable? And the moon can change, right? All these, the sun changes, the moon changes. These are luminaries. So they really help us to personally and emotionally grow. Um, So learned habits from the moon. So we can look at that in a chart. For instance, we'll go back, Virgo, if your moon is in Virgo, again, you want to feel that there's a stability underneath you that you can rely on, that you can rely on what you've researched or what you've come into because you're ruled by Mercury, what's come into your learning, you can process that in a way that stabilizes your emotional landscape.
Mm. See, all these things we don't realize. We're searching. We're trying to feel
Yeah,
better.
it's a
You,
beautiful search, and then if you go to the rising sign, your rising sign is where the sun was rising. That's the time of your birth. And the rising sign is really, it's your body, it's your physical body, it's your boundaries, it's your personality. It's how do you engage with the world? And
mm,
if I do remember, I can't remember what your rising sign was, Steve, if you don't mind me using you as an example. Was it
sure.
Gemini or
Um,
oh
uh,
boy. Well, let's say it was Gemini.
okay.
Let's say it doesn't have to be you, but let's say you had a Gemini rising. So you're going to interact with the world through your communication, through your immediate environment, your local environment, your siblings, and how do you learn so you can communicate that out into the world through your emotional stability? Now, if that gets a little rocky, it's going to make you like, I can't make decisions, or, oh, I feel this way, I feel that way. And sometimes that's what happens with a rising sign in Gemini and the moon or the sun. If it's unstable, it'll kind of go, which way do I go?
Would you say that the baseline for all of this is really coming down to the grounding? Like, where you're going to get clarity, where you're going to be able to make decisions a little bit better. Does it start there?
I mean, I think it does start there. I'm not saying that's the easiest place to start. I mean, it all depends on the person. Sometimes you can start there, but there is things that you need to work on there, whether it's trauma, you have to work with the trauma in order to find where you can release or transform that trauma into a place where it can work for you so you can feel your vitality. So I love that question, and I'm really rethinking that in my mind. I don't, it all depends on the person if it starts there or not. And if it starts there, then maybe we look at what's there that's keeping you from being grounded.
And I'm only speaking from experience. Like
Yeah, yeah.
even over the weekend, I don't know. I know we had a full moon on Saturday. I woke up Sunday massively depleted. Didn't even have an answer. I don't know what it was. I didn't do anything for 3/4 of the day. I went outside, was on my deck, and I'm like, usually I read, I do whatever. I just did nothing. I fell asleep 4 hours, back and forth. I woke up, but I almost feel like I was grounding myself. And then I felt more alive. And then since then, I had a Reiki session as well. Since
Mhm.
then, I got so much more clarity right now and a grip
Yeah.
on certain situations where I've let some things go. I'm, transitioning in different areas away from certain things. I don't feel support. Um, but different. I'm different in a little way since then. It's a weird kind of feeling.
Right. I feel that too. And I love that you brought that up because, with these full moons, new moons, the whole astrological ball of wax, you know what? It's okay that you slept because for what I get from that is that your body was integrating something and you allowed it to happen. Because I do, and maybe sometime we'll talk about this stillness, how stillness really is a self-care tool.
One of the best. And I never realized it until I did it. And I'm that person only like 6 months, 7 months ago,
Yeah.
where I would talk to friends. It would be a Saturday or Sunday. It could be like 11 a.m. And I'm still in bed. I'm just doing nothing. And I'd be like, you're still in bed at 11 o'clock? What? You wasted half the day. What are you doing? until I realized doing nothing is actually doing something. You're
Yeah.
recharging your body, your mind, and I try to find time for that all the time. I look forward to doing nothing. I know it sounds ridiculous, just laying in
No.
bed, no TV. I'm just, just kind of just taking it all in. Throw me on a train for 3 hours. I'm taking a trip next weekend, son to college. Friend of mine says,
Oh,
I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up at the train station. I'm not far from New York. I'm like, oh, I appreciate that, but no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm sit. I'll do nothing. Listen to
yeah.
some music, whatever. It's so important, but we don't realize it. We don't realize it.
Yeah, that's really important. And it's funny you say that about the full moon too, because I know Saturday it was Sunday. Monday is when I felt like, whoa, I have no energy. I almost felt like, wow, am I getting sick? You know,
Yes.
and I started to judge it. I started to be like, oh no, I can't do
Yes.
this. Because we always have that in it. And then I just said, you know what? I gotta let it go
Mm-hmm.
and release. And I tell you, I too, Steve, the next day I felt so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And again, I'm not looking for um, trying to hop on any train here. Oh, that's what it is. I just lean back and I look at evidence. And okay, I don't think it's a coincidence. You and I, probably so many others, feel differently after that full moon,
Yeah,
after the Mercury retrograde. I know we're in post
yeah.
phase, all of that. There's no way, that's my evidence. And then I just back it up by feelings and thoughts and
And
clarity.
absolutely. And I too, I'm coming off of that full moon and then into this Jupiter and Venus conjunction in Cancer, a little different, And
Yeah,
at
yeah.
first, I'm very try to be authentic and honest in my work. It's at first I'm like, oh no. What's and then I'm just like, you know what? Let's just be. Let's just be here. And that's grounding in itself, Steve.
Yes. Mental grounding.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we have to do it on all levels, mental, physical, spiritual, and emotionally. And sometimes we can't do all four of those aspects of ourselves, right? We have to do what is calling us
Yeah.
and what the conversation is in your chart. That's the most important thing.
Thank you. Thank
So
you for a lot of insight on this and how this all works and how what you do can really help fill in the blanks, give us answers, move life forward. And it's almost like a blueprint, like your GPS based on the stars, but then you
well,
blend it within coaching. How do we connect with you, Nancy? How do we find you?
you can connect with me on my website, which is thewhisperingsoul.net, and on my Instagram, thewhisperingsoulastrology.net. I also have my astro mantras every day. And you can connect with me, email Nancy at excuse me, that was the old one, Nancy at thewhisperingsoul.net and 203-770-8938. And Steve, if I could just read one thing that I wrote this morning really quick,
Please.
I just want to say using astrology for self-care isn't about perfection. I'm talking about, yeah, Virgos can be perfectionists, right? But I'm not talking, I just wanted to point that in.
I got
Read
you.
that again. Using astrology for self-care isn't about perfection. It's about being attuned. It's like a tuning fork. So we're constantly attuning. Maybe we never really get there, but we're always moving towards in and out.
But wouldn't you want to be as best tuned into life and everything around you, including your intuition, as best you can? I want to
Yeah,
be.
that's all we can do is like really be mindful and conscious that we want to be the best we can, the best
Yeah.
version of ourselves.
Yeah. So why not use these tools, including your intuition, astrology, and your coaching and all of that? Thank you for today. Super
Thank
cool.
you so much, Steve.
I
Have a
appreciate
good
it.
day. Dig in the dirt.
Yeah. And I'm going to check out your mantras too. I didn't even know you did that.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.